trying to set up my camera and I have a pig leaning on me. You can't see him, he's just out of shot. He's like heavily leaning on me. What a dork. I've had to accommodate for the sleeping pig. I've had to move where I was filming because the pig would not stop snoring right in the microphone. I've also had to change the microphone. So hopefully this works now. Anyway, I was coming on to update you about our week. It's been quite busy in a sort of farmy way. I think one of the things for us is constantly trying to manage the different levels of what we do. So we have all of the farm stuff, you know, managing the animals. Goats are getting a toe trim before they trim my brambles. And yes, he needs a belly rub. Managing all of the animals and everything that we do, while also, you know, making a living from our farm, which is selling events and planning for events in the future, as well as kits and online courses and tutorials that we do and all of that. So with it being January, it's been quite a quiet time in the sort of business side of things, but still trying to prepare for the summer. One of the things happening this week is that our sheep are coming back from winter grazing. They have been in a friend's field about 10 miles from here over the winter because we don't have a lot of grass and we would need to be buying in hay and all of that for chickens. We would need to be buying in hay all winter, and he has plenty of grass, so he has taken them to winter graze over in his field. They should be coming back any day, but part of that is for us has been preparing their grazing for the rest of the year. So this is the current sort of setup that we've got. We've got some electric netting that we're putting in with some reinforcements.
There's a dog stuck.
There's a dog stuck in it already, so it's going really well. Now, one of the things that we did really well initially was institute a really controlled grazing plan. And using regenerative farming principles, we graze our animals in small sections that adopt a sort of mob or herd setup. When we first moved to the farm and took over this field, this entire section here was waist high, at least, in thistles and dock, nettles, and very little usable grass. What we did is the first few months, we essentially fenced it from about where that tree has fallen all the way across to that fence post, keeping the animals in one section to graze it down. So effectively, they're gathered together in a small amount of space, and then they eat everything in that space. So not just the choicey grasses that they like, but all of the other things that are perfectly good for them, but just may not be their pick, you know, of the day. Then we move them on to another section and repeat that over and over in different sections of our field. It means that we can graze a lot more intensively than you would be able to by just releasing them onto the 2 acres of main paddock that we have, but it also means that we can monitor their health and kind of control who goes where a little bit better than just, you know, a free-for-all. By managing the different species as well, it means that a lot more of our plants and kind of rough marginal grazing is accounted for, because while goats will eat grass, they also really like things like thistles and rushes, which are an invasive type plant that we have growing. These tufty bits of grass here are rushes. They love acidic soil, are really difficult to shift, especially on boggy ground like ours. So rushes wouldn't be the first choice for the cows, but when there's nothing else or nothing that they particularly want, they will eat that, helping to control. So when they graze the rushes, what happens then is that the stems are then opened up to the frost. so that the frost then gets into it and kills off the plant, leaving more room for grass. And when they eat those down, it means that they oftentimes get killed off or not. So the thistles don't necessarily get killed off, but then other choicey plants, grass and things come in, and we're able to manage and increase what is on offer on our land. One of the other key benefits of grazing in this way, sometimes it's called holistic planned management or holistic planned grazing, is that it actively sequesters carbon in the soil. Because grasses, in particular, were meant and developed to be grazed by grazing animals, the way in which they then grow is more intensive after they have been grazed. So in grasses, there's lots of little buds underneath the soil. And so when the top of the grass is taken, it stimulates the plant to then grow a lot more. It also, and when it grows, obviously it draws down carbon. Also, by mimicking the way in which a herd structure works, which when there were predators, herds of grazing animals used to be quite packed together. All of that sort of intense, movement and grazing and all of that helps stimulate the grasses even more. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to go into much more detail on that, but I will link in the show notes all about, some great books on this issue. And so for us, this kind of management is beneficial across the board. I mean, the only downside of it is that it is, of course, more time intensive. And it means that we have to move fences quite a lot more than we would have to otherwise. Now, our sheep are notorious escape artists.
If I can jump over this, there's maybe a chance that they can jump over it.
Seriously.
If I hurt myself, I'll hurt myself.
So, what do we think about that?
It's maybe jumpable.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
Okay.
Bye sheep, bye sheep.
So, we are on 100% electric fencing, and we are hoping that our new netting system that we set up over the weekend will contain them. Time will tell. Can you see that? What are you doing, little sheepy sheep? Sheepy sheepies, come on! Jump up there. Do not go into Collins Field. Just don't do it. Be good sheep. Should be interesting because we piss off a lot of neighbors, to be totally honest. So the test strip for this new grazing plan is set up right outside my office window. So I'll be able to watch them, hopefully not escape, when they arrive. Once we get it going, will be relatively easy to maintain, and then we'll continue it throughout the paddock. The cow is a little bit of an unknown because while she absolutely would stay in an electric fence, jerseys are much better than the sheep at staying in. We don't actually have enough hard ground for her right now, so she's probably going to stay in the barn for the next wee while, and then will probably be part of the grazing herd once the ground firms up a bit. She does go out for a little bit every now and then, but not that often, and only when it's relatively dry. So yeah, will the sheep stay in? Will I piss off more neighbors? Will our grazing plan work? It's anybody's guess. I think now is the point where I say tune in next week to find out more if the sheep turn up.